Jack Ryan's fourth and final season is upon us. Here's a rundown of the first 3 seasons and then a spoiler-free review of Season 4, courtesy of Prime Video. A quick note, the following recap will have spoilers for Seasons 1 through 3. If you haven't seen the show at all, do it properly and watch it in order. If you have, here's a quick refresher for you. In the beginning, CIA analyst Jack Ryan discovers suspicious transactions from Yemen, which leads him to Suleiman, a high-value CIA target. This target is responsible for a sarin gas attack and an attempted assassination. Ryan is sent to Yemen to interrogate Suleiman's couriers. One of those couriers turns out to be Suleiman himself. Apologies for pronunciation. He escapes after a car bomb explosion. Ryan manages to track Suleiman's brother and assumes his identity, tricking Suleiman into an online chat. Ryan then locates Suleiman's wife and saves her. He brings her to the United States under sanctuary. Ryan then takes another contact's son and holds him in exchange for whereabouts on Suleiman and confronts him, eventually killing the man. Ryan is promoted to the head of the Terrorist Finance and Arms Division. Now, the relative realism, quality of acting, and cinematic scope of the show introduced straight away really had me hooked. They managed to keep the quality of this stuff up for the entire run of the show. Ryan investigates Russian weapon shipments to Venezuela during that country's presidential election. He reconnects with his former boss, Jim Greer, and encounters Harriet, a German intelligence agent. A senator is killed, and Ryan vows to find the killer. He gets in deep and ultimately escapes an assassination attempt, which leads him to London. Ryan races against time to prevent a catastrophe while being pursued by his former allies. In Season 2, I started to worry a little bit about the future of the show. While being far from terrible, it started to feel like later seasons of Fox's 24, where realism was shoved aside for a bit more of a James Bond approach. The show still looked great, the acting was solid, and the action scenes were fun, but it started to just be a bit too big. I was worried Season 3 would carry on that trajectory, and I probably would have bowed out if it did. Season 3 found Ryan facing treason charges. Despite this, he continued his mission to prevent war. Joined by his friends Jim Greer and Mike November, Ryan embarks on a journey across Europe to stop a dangerous Soviet project called Sokol. Russia had developed a radar-invisible nuclear weapon, and its location remained unknown. If deployed, it could spark war between Russia and America. Ryan receives information from a Russian embassy official, Zoya Ivanova, about the weapon's movement. The U.S. embassy remains skeptical due to a lack of evidence. Meanwhile, tensions rise between Russia and the Czech Republic. The Russian defense minister meets with the Czech president to discuss NATO's involvement. This situation escalates when Ryan's SIM card is traced to a ship in Sevastopol, Crimea. Ryan and his team board the ship, encounter Russian guards, and extract a scientist who was meant to be picked up by the Americans. However, they're ambushed in Greece, leading to Ryan being pursued as a threat. The Sokol project is initiated, and assassinations begin. As tensions mount, Ryan and his team try to intercept the nuclear warhead, but fail. They discover Sokol's true objective is to frame America for a nuclear accident. Ryan escapes the FBI and teams up with a Russian patriot to prevent the catastrophe. They locate the warhead and inform NATO forces, ultimately foiling the plan. Luckily, Season 3 backed off on the Jack Bauer of it all. The writers did this without retconning any of the story elements introduced in Season 2. Not only was Season 3 back to reality, it turned out to be one of the strongest seasons of the show up to now. It felt topical without preaching or getting into real politics. It found a great way to have a villain be old but also new. Okay, so that brings us to Season 4. As the newly appointed CIA acting deputy director, Ryan is entrusted with the task of unmasking internal corruption that threatens to unravel the very fabric of his own country. As Ryan delves deeper into the investigation, he uncovers a web of black ops that raise suspicions about the nation's security. What initially seemed like isolated incidents soon reveal a shocking truth. An unholy alliance exists between a ruthless drug cartel and a dangerous terrorist organization. The stakes are constantly on the rise as Ryan realizes that his conspiracy hits much closer to home than he ever imagined it could. Caught in a treacherous web of deceit and betrayal, Ryan's unwavering belief in the system he has dedicated his life to protecting is put to the ultimate test. With every step, he risks not only his own life, but also the safety of those he holds dear. As he races against time to expose the truth and thwart the devastating plans of this nefarious alliance, Ryan must confront his own demons and make impossible choices that will define his legacy. This final adventure will really test Ryan, forcing him to confront the very essence of what it means to be a patriot in a world filled with darkness and corruption. At the time of this recording, I've only watched the first 3 episodes of Season 4. I wanted to make sure I didn't accidentally spoil something for the series finale as a whole, but we will reconvene and touch base as the series comes to its finale. But watching these first 3 episodes, I was pumped. After such a strong showing in Season 3, it was great to see the ramifications of everything that had happened so far play out. It was also great spending time with the characters in their personal lives a little bit more. I especially liked the moments between Ryan and Greer bonding over what would come next for them as friends. There have already been some full circle feeling moments as we barrel to the end of the series. New in Season 4 is Michael Pena. He's one of the co-stars for this season, and it's an interesting role for him. There's a lot of twists and turns that come at breakneck speeds, and it shows us a new side to Pena's acting chops. I was excited to see him do something different, and he's handling it fairly well. There are times I'm not sure he was the perfect man for the job, but as I get more into the character, the more and more I see of him and less I see of my preconceived notions of who Pena is as an actor. A big element for any final season is how much does it feel like the end? Meaning, would audiences like this as a standalone season without knowing that the end's coming? It's a tightrope walk since shows like to send off their characters in a good way, tie up loose ends, and give the fans what they need, not always what they want, while still delivering on stories that we've all been tuning in for years. The team behind Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan has the approach down. Audiences are given a blend of characters progressing while still having that Jack Ryan story standard of bombarding the audience with information, characters, and plot twists. Watching these episodes, you don't feel like the writers kicked back for a victory lap. There's a solid story here. Aside from how the heck is all this going to resolve, my only question remaining is, can they stick the landing? Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan Season 4 will premiere June 30th on Prime Video, with 2 episodes available every Friday, leading up to the epic series finale on July 14th. The 6-episode season will stream exclusively on Prime Video.